Hi everybody, this is Eero here. Today I want to tell you like how I transform my body through changing my training methods and my training style to kind of what it is, what you see today. Because I certainly didn't train the way I do, always, and I didn't look the way I look now, Also, because I think many people may assume that hey, this guy was always this athletic, he was always strong. And this was not the case. I started, pretty skinny, just like everyone else. And I did practice, like I explained, for example, the fact video. I did martial arts, taekwondo, stuff like this. But I wasn't super athletic, and I certainly didn't train very seriously back then. So I was pretty skinny. I wasn't too strong, and I started this very consistent training. And the main thing that I wanted was I wanted to get bigger. That was the big thing. And I also wanted to get stronger in terms of weight, in terms of numbers, and in terms of developing certain calisthenic skills, for example. It was the start. So this approach to developing body is very common. It's what most people teach, and it's this progressive sort of quantitative approach, and it's very tempting, to follow the weights and the numbers. It's sort of easy, easy to conceptualize. And you don't really have to worry about anything else. It's easy, it's simple, and everybody does it. So it's nice to you can compare yourself. So I started with this training approach, and I was doing some exercises. I was trying to put the most amount of weights because this was the only way that I understood that you can make any progress. So this is what I did, and in the start, I obviously made gains, and this is the thing. Everybody, if you've started just training, you will notice you will quite fastly. It doesn't matter what training you do, you will start to gain some muscle. You will start to make some progress, and I was seeing these initial gains, and then, it started to get obviously slower and slower. It started to plateau, and not only that, I started to have these pains, aches, my back, my hips, shoulders, and this is very common with the heavyweights. It's very common because you're sort of chasing these things outside of yourself and not really listening what's happening in the body. But in this point, I was thinking it's quite normal, because it is normal. If you just lift this heavyweight, it is normal that you're going to develop some pains in your body. So it's kind of a funny thing to put it that way, but. So I figured, okay, it's normal. I can just keep on going. I don't have to stop. If I just do a little bit of stretching, a little bit of some mobility work that I searched, then no worries. Just, I can still make these PRs and set the records in the weights. So that's how I continued. But eventually, it got me that this can't be it. I just feel horrible in my body mostly, and okay, I'm lifting more and more weights, but I'm not getting anywhere. Like, how is this possible? My muscles are not really getting bigger. And it's not just that I'm plateauing, I'm actually getting worse, even though the weights are somewhat getting up. So I realized that the heavy weights were a huge mistake. And the problems that I caused by lifting them, I had to fix those for a very, very long time. And so it was really time now for a change. And so obviously I started to little by little, to go away from the heavy weights. So I started to lift smaller and smaller weights, and then I started to do more exercises. So this is the start. I'd go away from just a few exercises. I started to do much more versatile training. So movement training was also a big part of this initial change when I started to change my approach in the training, because it was so much more versatile, and it had so many elements to it, and not just the heavy weight, but it kind of had the mobility and strength in it. This way I started to increase the quality in my training, but this is just the starting point. It's sort of a bit of like mimicking and imitating this sort of functional and complete approach. So from there, I started to realize more and more that it's not so. It's these exercises. It's more like really how I do this exercise. How well do I do this exercise, and the quality in the training. So a really big thing was the mind-muscle connection. I realized that I can actually feel these muscles working and voluntarily sort of this way make the muscles work that I want to work. And this then kind of revealed that there was obviously a lot of weakness in many areas, because prior to this, a lot of the exercise and the weights that I had lifted, I had kind of learned to do them with a certain body mechanic. So this is what I mean when I say for example, that heavy lifting is partly a skill, because it relies a lot on a certain body mechanic to lift this weight up, not so much on the pure articulated motion of the joint where you use the muscles. And this is how it works. So, but due to this change, you know, now I start to make like actual progress. It's slow, it's slow and steady, because obviously my training also, it changed progressively. But so now I start to make progress, and I start to develop real strength. My muscles start to grow, you know, once again. I think in total I grew probably around 8 kilos of muscle, and well, that is about 17 pounds. So that's like just the size, but my performance started to develop much better. And the pains and the aches, that this was a huge thing for me. I was starting to able to live without being in pain, in chronic pain, and that was a huge thing for me, kind of showing that what I do, it actually works. And this is the thing about the qualitative training, is that it's really hard to get hurt and injure yourself, because you're not focusing on the outside things about yourself, but you're focusing on the body. So that's a big thing. But so the idea here is really that, you know, you can transform your body as well, because you might recognize yourself from this, from my experience, that you're somebody who goes through some pains, and you're lifting weights and you see that you're not getting anywhere, and you're wondering what is going on, what's the alternative, what should you do? So you know, I want to give you the tools, and I want to give you the methods and the exercise that helps you to become healthy, mobile and strong. Because the thing is that you don't have to choose. Even if you're just looking for sort of to look better, to be bigger, that you don't have to settle just for that. You can have the function. You can be healthy and look good, you know, and realize that they're actually the same thing. But so that was really the video, and you know, I hope you enjoyed this and you find this helpful and perhaps motivating. So stay tuned, because we're gonna do this together, and there's a lot more stuff that I'm gonna put on this channel. And Merry Christmas to everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.